Hey guys, Cody from St. Pete Running Company with another shoe review for you. Today we're going off-brand, Diadora, Blushield Vortice 7. Diadora has been in America since 2017 when they came back to the US, really focused on running, really seeing the dividends now, getting some market share in the United States and run specialty stores as everyday runners are starting to really enjoy this footwear. So wanted to share it with you because still mainstream, not a lot of people know what they're all about. So they actually do really well in our running store here as one of the top brands here at St. Pete Running Company. The name Mythos just indicates that it's a premium running shoe, basically. And if you see Blushield on it, BLU Shield, that's like, that doesn't identify what the shoe is, it identifies what the shoe has. So think like A6 Gel, their premium cushioning is Blushield, and you'll find that in a lot of their shoes, and I actually have a cutout of it. So think of this, it's almost like a monolithic piece of cushioning that runs full length from heel to toe, but you almost look at the bottom and you see what I would most accurately describe as little bitty wedding cakes, and the little pillars will squish into the bigger pillars upon landing. So the areas which take the most loading would be probably under your heel and across your met heads. They're shaped different than in the arch. So that's, it adapts towards the person's stride, and it also actually helps with lateral and medial motion, believe it or not. So that's what's in the Vortice. About this shoe, this is made to go head to head with a Brooks Glycerin, with some of the Hokas like the Bondi, with the A6 Nimbus. So think premium, squishy, soft, comfortable, neutral shoes for a long haul. Even though it is made for neutral mechanics, if you have a foot which may overpronate a little bit, especially when you're fatigued or later on during the run, we're seeing that this shoe actually holds up well, and it doesn't have any extra pieces, it's just wedged that way. So you'll see the medial aspect is a little bit higher, so it inverts the runner's heel just a couple degrees, and that works in tandem with other systems within the shoe to hold your foot more into a neutral whilst you're running. And like I mentioned earlier, that Blushield is actually one of the components. Wanted to show you another couple things I really like about this shoe. Let me just get the stuffing out. So if you can see just here between my fingers, and I'm not a shoe designer, but I don't know the name, but it's called, like, think of them as stirrups. And they're both on the lateral and medial side of the shoe. And what they do is connect the shoestrings down into a V like that to the sole of the shoe. So if you want a little more of a lockdown feel, literally all you have to do is pull tighter right here, and you can feel the upper of the shoe just lock in and hug your foot in place. Good for guys like me with kind of a skinnier foot, or you feel like it's wishy-washy and you're sliding throughout the shoe. That's a great way to lock your foot down, and it's one of those things that helps with a little bit of that medial movement or that rotation as well. Now, if you had previous models, it used to be called Blushield 3. They skipped the 4 in the US, then it was 5, Blushield 6. The Vortice 7 is that franchise. They just added the Vortice name to it. I hope I'm saying that right. Some of the previous models, a few of the complaints we had was that the heel collar and the dog ears were just a little bit too obtuse, if you will. So they've tightened that up. They looked at how they string this together, and it's way more supportive. You'll see a big, cushy heel counter through here, nice and stable, and you almost sit down in it like a bit of a bucket seat. One thing I really like is their attention to detail. Maybe it's the Italian designers, I don't know. But if you take your thumb, run it down the back of the shoe, you'll notice it's slippery as it goes in, but then it's like a shark skin. It's quite almost abrasive as it comes out. And for me, that helps hold the heel back and down in the shoe. So a lot of you guys have had shoes, or maybe even the previous versions of this, which your heel slipped up a little bit, haven't noticed that, haven't had any feedback whatsoever. A really clever way to lock that down. So if you are neutral or a little bit of an overpronator, and you do higher mileage, or you need something that's just super comfortable, super squishy, and you're not interested in like the lower drop shoes, this has a nice heel to toe drop on it. Those who have had Achilles problems, plantar fasciitis, and you don't necessarily want to elongate that tendon at this point in your life, maybe this would be a really good everyday shoe or something for your long runs. Personally, I added it into my rotation for longer runs. We don't have a lot of trails here down in St. Pete, so a lot of the longer runs I do are on the pavement or on sidewalks as I run the loop around the beach. So I found that this helps me. I'm just not quite as sore the next day. And again, I think that's because of the thick, soft EVA foam and then just the Blushield technology, which has worked wonders for me. Again, guys, Diadora, if you see them at your local running store, don't be afraid to at least try them on, and I think you might be pleasantly surprised like we are and like so many other people. Thanks for watching.